Welcome to day 16 of our challenge. Yesterday we have created our entities class and also injected it as a service. And today we will start using entity framework core. And we will use the InMemory database, which you can later on easily adjust to, instead of using InMemory database, use SQL instead, for example. So once you have implemented entity framework core, you can use InMemory and SQL and any other database provider or system. Great, so let's get started. Okay, so first step is to add a new package. So let's go to Tools, you get Package Manager console. Simply write down install package Microsoft.entity framework core.InMemory. Now let's hit enter. Now everything is installed. And now let's go directly into our entities class that we got right here. And we should inherit that entities class here from DB context. So if you want to use DB context, start using Microsoft.entity framework core, right? This is not the package that we just have installed. That one was here before. We just installed the entity framework core InMemory package for our InMemory database for sure. Now, public class entities should be inherited from DB context. So, and DB context means database context, and it's just the way how we configure entities to be our real database, right? So passengers would be a table in our database, flights would be a table in our database. And if you want to, well, create a database in Entity Framework Core, you need to take the class which contains all of your informations, tables, datas, right? And inherit it from the DB context. And then we can take it and configure it just in a second to let entity class here, or entities class, really be our database. Great. So first thing is to inherit from DB context. And next up, we need to change iList and list here from being type of list to being type of DB set. So database set, DB set, there we go. We can completely remove that new list, the new passenger now. We can simply go ahead and say flights goes to set type of flight. There we go. And for sure we can do the same thing with the passengers list. Goes to a set of type passenger. Okay, now there's the most important thing coming right now. You can go ahead to program.cs and here directly where we create the builder, so not where we build the application, just where we create it, we go ahead and add our database. So add DB context, you can write that down here and say builder.services.add DB context, right? So there is a method for it. Now the type of that DB context is our entities class, because that one is now inherited from DB context, right? Now we can provide some options. So let's go ahead and do that. Options goes to, let me add a line break, options.use InMemory database. So you can see it's not provided. Let's go ahead and add a using directive using Microsoft.entity framework core. Now inside there, we for sure got the use InMemory database. So use InMemory database, there we go, use InMemory database. And the database name, let's call it flights. So you could provide it, or you could provide any name you wanna. So you can write down any database name you want, but I'll stick with flights. Afterwards, service lifetime, gonna set that to singleton. Okay, let me add another line break right here so that we can finish it up. And we add here service lifetime.singleton because we would lose the data otherwise. Each request creates a new instance, and since it's in memory, we have to use it as a singleton service. So this only appeals to the memory, in-memory database, so that we can stick with it, right? That's why we have used singletons and static information before, because if we don't do that, every request would create a new instance of the service. So the default type is scoped, so service lifetime scoped. That will be the default, but that's not what we need here, because we want to have, well, one database during the complete runtime of the application, which is keeping the information in memory, right? So this is why we're keeping it as singleton. Awesome. Now in one of our latest videos we have added this seeding. So let's scroll down a little bit. You can see here entities, flights, add range, right? So this is where we are adding some more flights to. So this is where we are seeding the first flights into our fake database so far, right? So we add some fake flights into the database, and after adding it, so here right now you can see this is db set, and we add a range. We definitely, and we will cover that later on today again, after adding elements to our database, we always have to make sure to save the changes. So adding something is a change and we need to save it, right? Awesome. So let's try to start our application. I will start it in debugging mode right now. As you can see, we got some build errors here. So let me just say, no, I don't want to start it. And you can see cannot convert method group to object. So this is taking place in passenger here. There we go. And we need to make some adjustments here. So since this was just a log information, we could go ahead and just remove that since it's not necessary anymore. Let's try to start our application again. Great. So now we come to another error, which is saying add DB context was called with a configuration, but the context type entities only declares parameterless constructor. So this means that the configuration path to add DB context will never be used. All right. So this is the issue that I was searching for. And in the next video, we will take a look on how we can fix it.